I know you're thinking, stencils? Stencils are so old-fashioned. Why would I want to work with stencils these days when there's so many great products out there? Well, there's a lot you can do with stencils that people didn't do back in the day, because stencils have been around forever, it seems like. But there's new things and new products that you can use with stencils. So that's what we're going to go over today. I'm Myra with Boutique Paint, and thank you for joining me. We're going to start out with DIY's paint frosting in a stencil. And this is a product that helps thicken paint. It's a thickening agent. So I put just a little bit of white swan into a cup, and I'm just going to put in a couple of drops. And this takes a smidge of time to thicken up. So I'm going to go ahead and mix it, and then we will move on to Saltwash while this is thickening up. But I'm going to show you 3 different products you can use for in a stencil to make a raised stencil. Let's see, let's try. We'll start with Farm Fancy with the Saltwash. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of this in there. And it doesn't take much. Maybe just a smidge more. Okay, so we're just going to add not very much, because we don't have very much paint, of Saltwash. And start with less than more, just so that you can get a feel for it. And get it stirred in there. So this too is a thickening agent. And this one you can use right away. As soon as you mix it up, you can use it. It doesn't take very long for the paint frosting to thicken up. They do suggest waiting overnight, but I find it thickens up pretty quickly. Okay, now that we got it the consistency we want, and that, make sure that you've got it all mixed in so you don't have any of the powder coming out in your paint. What I'm going to do, these are sample boards. Actually, I want to use that stencil. So this is our Moroccan Floral Swag. And you can see I am so good about cleaning my stencils. So I'm going to take some of this and I'm going to just put it on a trowel. And this is one of IOD's trowels. I'm just going to put it on the edge here. And normally I would use some glue, repositioning glue for the stencil. But I'm just going to hold it down and then just scrape off whatever extra. You don't need to leave it on the stencil. And just make sure you get the parts that you want covered. You don't have to cover it all when you're doing this. You can leave it pieces undone or just with a little bit, just to give kind of an older look. All right, so there's that one. Let's pull it up and see what it looks like. And then you want to pull it straight up, and there we go. And you can see these are just the pieces where I didn't get all the way in, but that makes a pretty nice impression with the Saltwash. Now, if you look really, really carefully, you can see that it's not perfect. There's lines and stuff. That's okay. It lends itself to the texture of what you're doing. But that turned out very pretty. Okay, so next we're going to use the DIY paint frosting, and you can see that this is thickened up. I mean, it's still a little bit, but it's definitely thicker than it was. So same thing, we're going to just put some on the trowel. I need more hands today. And this is our dress form stencil. I don't know how I came up with that name. Oops. See, and that's why you want to use glue. Get a little bit more on there. And you could mix this up even thicker, or just let it, the longer you let it sit, you know, if you let it do the overnight, it will be thicker yet. Once again, you just lift straight up. And there you go. So next we're going to be doing the embossing gel. This is an Amy Howard product, and she only sells it on her website. Unfortunately, I tried to get it for my website to sell. I really like this product, but they don't sell it wholesale. So here we are. You just take a little bit of this. I'm using my small IOD trowel here, because I wanted to be able to dip it right in there. Although it looks like I might want the bigger one so that oh, there we go. Get the coverage. And once again, I recommend that you use the stencil glue to hold your stencil in place while you're doing this. It just makes it easier. You don't have the lifting. Now there's a trick to this one. You put it on like this and you could just let it do its thing here and just be the way it is, just like the other two products. But this one's got a fun little twist, and that's why I love this product. So with this product, whatever you have left on your scraper, just go ahead and put it back into the jar, because you don't want to waste any. Okay, this is the fun part. I'm going to grab my heat gun, and I'm going to start heating it up. I don't know if you can see that, but it's starting to poof up. It's got a rounded texture now. So as you can see on this board, the places where the paste was thicker rounds up and kind of bubbles up. As it cools, it's still soft, but it makes such a cool effect. Where it's thinner, it won't do that. It doesn't have enough to give you the bubble up effect. But what I really like about this is it gives you rounded edges on whatever your project is, and I think that's kind of cool. I've got a project coming up using this, and I'll probably also use show you how all these boards look painted up. But this is using the embossing gel, and I just think it's such a fun effect. So that'll be a video coming up here shortly. But they're all super cool effects, but yet all different. So here's a look at our 3 samples. I do want to note this particular stencil was a 7 mil, and this is a 10 mil. So the thicker the stencil, the higher the raise you're going to get. Same with this. This was a 10 mil. But you can see that you can still get some raised texture with even a 7 mil. And that is just telling you the thickness of the stencil. The higher the number, the thicker the plastic is. But that's it. There's 3 samples of how to use stencils a little bit differently than you might have thought. Thank you so much for joining me. If you got any questions about any of the products I used here, go to our website at www.boutiquepaint.com, and I will also link Amy Howard's embossing gel below. Thank you. Bye.